Please turn to page 76. We're now going to look at small group writing at the emergent level. Students who are entering this emergent level, small group writing, also need to know how to segment simple CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonant words. At the emergent level, students need to learn how to take those high frequency words and the words that they segment and put them together in a sentence. So basically, what you're learning at the emergent level are the steps to write down a sentence. So I've isolated those steps, and there's basically 4 of them. Let's look first of all at page 76. On page 76, when I meet with this emergent group, the first thing we're going to look at is writing position. Even though I have these 4 steps I need to teach the kids, I can't teach them these steps unless they're sitting with good writing posture. If they don't have their pencil in their hand or they're slouched, it's very difficult to run these groups. So the first thing I would suggest is that you teach them writing position. Notice in the picture, I pulled up, I have the pencil in my hand, my other hand is flat, I'm sitting up nice and tall. I'm modeling to students what writing position looks like, so that when I have a small group come to the table, and when I say small group, I could have 16 kids in this group. These can be large, small groups. And the reason for that is because we're all going to be doing the same thing. First thing I need to teach them, sit up nice and tall, pencil in your hand, feet flat on the ground, and I call that writing position. So we practice that. If that's what your first group is just writing position, you will save yourself so much time and accelerate kids' progress through this small group because they're all ready to learn. So, first thing you want to do is teach kids what writing position is. They come to the table, you model. Sit up tall, pencil in my hand, the other hand's flat on my page. I'm ready to write. And I never put my pencil down. I'm always ready to write. Notice you have a chart here that you can show students what good writers do. They sit up tall, their feet are on the floor, and their pencils are ready to write. Over here is a picture of a student practicing that. And now I'm going to show you what we do next. Once they're sitting in writing position, how do we start this group? Well, first of all, you're going to hand them at the table. Each child is going to have an ABC chart so that you can use that as a reference. Again, this ABC chart is going to have the ABCs on one side, and then on the reverse side are going to be the high frequency words that they can find in order to write in their sentence. Right at hand, they'll go to the ABC chart if they need to segment a word and find letters to match the sounds in order to write down an unknown word, or they'll flip the chart over to find a high frequency word, a word as fast as a snap they need to write down. So every child has an ABC chart. Along with the ABC chart, what I do is, instead of making this a separate activity every day, and what I mean by that is, when the kids come to the table, we just write one sentence, an arbitrary sentence, that doesn't really help them, because eventually what happens is they think writing is just one sentence. What I like to do is, each day when I meet with this group, we try to write one sentence, and we're all going to be writing the same sentence. But this is how it's going to work. I take plain paper, I draw a line across the center of each page, and then I staple the paper together. So in this case, I had 5 sheets of plain paper that I stapled together, and now for each student, and now they have a book. Each day we will write a sentence in this book, and it will become a story. So when they finish writing this, they will see themselves as story writers, not just writing one sentence and then each day we make up a new sentence. When they write a whole book, they see themselves as writers and they get excited about writing. Every student will have a blank book in front of them, and they will also have, so they'll have a blank book in front of them, and they will have an alphabet chart as a reference tool. If you notice on page 77, this is page 1. So let's say that I started meeting with this group on a Monday. This was their Monday page, and this was their Tuesday page. This is an example of a student's booklet. And then on Wednesday, we would be writing the 3rd page of their story. And by Friday, we would have a 5-page story that they would have written, and they would have had a book, which is exciting. Now let's look over at the table. What does it look like? Again, At this table, it's a small group. You could have anywhere from 5 to 16 kids at this table. You're going to be meeting with them for about 20 minutes when you do this activity. The teacher should have this chart, and if you can enlarge it, that's great, but you don't have to. If you notice behind me, I have this chart with the 4 boxes that I'm going to be teaching the students. These 4 boxes show the steps that they need to learn in order to independently write a sentence. So I have that on display so that I can systematically walk them through the steps. In this picture, I have the same chart, but it's enlarged so that it covers almost the entire board. It doesn't matter what size it is. I'm just showing you 2 different ways that you can present it, as long as the students can see those 4 steps. On my whiteboard, I have a piece of butcher paper here. This is my plan. In other words, I'm going to be walking through steps to plan our story sentence each day. On my butcher paper, I will be drawing that plan, not the students on theirs. I will be drawing it. And then once we use that plan to form a sentence, then we will write. The students will write on their paper on the bottom part, and when they're done, then they will draw. So the first thing they do is write, and we will do this together. So we're all writing the same sentence, walking through these 4 boxes in order to learn how to write a sentence. We're doing this together. That's why I can have 16 kids in a group, because we're all going through this process together. And then when they're finished writing their sentence, then they will go back and draw a picture. This is going to be, I said, 20 minutes. What if after my timer goes off and we haven't finished the sentence, then I will walk around and I will actually write out the rest of each child's sentence, because every day I want to start with a new sentence. I don't want to spend 3 or 4 days writing one sentence with a group. You will deflate the children. They will not get excited about it. The more that they make books and they see themselves as writers, the more excited they will get and the more motivated they will get to do this activity. So we have now our emergent level writing groups. We're teaching students how to sit up nice and tall in writing position. And that's all I say to them after a while when they come to the table. I say writing position, and they sit up nice and tall, ready to learn. They all have a blank book at the beginning of the week or on day 1 when you're writing your story. And you have posted up on the wall the 4 steps, and then you have a plain piece of butcher paper that you're going to use to plan each story sentence each day. We're going to look at page 78 and 79. You need to look at both pages at the same time. On the left page, on page 78, this will be the teacher area, what I would be writing in front of the kids, planning and writing. This right here on page 79, this is the student's booklet. So let me pretend like there's little staples here, and this is going to be their booklet. Each student has their own in order to write their sentence in. Let's get started. First thing we need to do is we need to plan our story. I want you to always think of, once you're at the 1 sentence level and beyond, writing is always going to be plan, talk, write. We need to first plan our story sentence. So the first thing we're going to do, if this is day 1 of our story, is we need a story opening. So I tell the kids, boys and girls, today we're going to be writing the first page of our story. That's called the story opening. You say that. Story opening. We have specific steps that we need to follow in order to write our story opening. As now I go over to my board and I draw a line and I tell the boys and girls, we're going to write a story together so that we can learn how to write a sentence. When you know how to write a sentence on your own, you get to write your own story. So everyone put your hands together and go, I'm going to learn how to write a sentence and then I can write my own stories. So I have the kids say that. You're going to learn how to write a sentence. So now let's get started and teach you how to plan that sentence first. I'm going to, on my board over here, so I point up at my whiteboard, I'm going to draw a line. Teachers, let me give you a little suggestion. Each day you could draw a line and on a whiteboard plan the next part of your story. Or you could actually have a big, large sheet stapled together with 5 pages, and each day you turn the page so it mimics the students' booklets. It doesn't matter, whatever you feel comfortable with. We have our teacher whiteboard up here that you're going to plan on, or it's a big, large teacher book, plain booklet that you've stapled together that mimics the students writing books. Let's go back now and plan our story. So the teacher is up here pointing to her board and she says, we're going to plan our story opening. Let's walk through our steps. Everyone say, get organized, get organized. As the teacher, I will be writing up on the board the plan for our story. Are the students doing this on their page? No. Only I will write the plan. So I have the kids go, get organized. And I walk over to my board and I draw a line. And then I draw a line here. And I tell them, boys and girls, this is my organizer that we're going to use to write our story opening. So what are we using this for? To plan our story opening. Let's go to our first box here, and we're going to plan what we need in the first box. So everyone say, step one, who's in our story, a person or an animal? And I have the kids do that. Step one, who's in our story, a person or an animal? I don't want the kids to say an elephant because they're at the emergent writing level. They're just learning how to segment very simple short words. So what I've done is, and again, this will be in your manual, I have different pictures of animals that are simple words for them to segment for our characters in our story, like a pig, a bat, a dog, a rat, a hen, a cat. So I will say, step one, who's in our story, and then I will show this to a student, and they will point to one of the boxes. I'm going to have different students help us plan the story. And I say to the kids, does it matter what our story is? No. Why? Because we're learning how to write sentences. Once we learn how to write sentences, you can pick your own characters. What did we pick, everybody? Let's see. Step one, who's in our story? Let's say a child picked the rat. So I show the picture to one of the kids at the table. They point to the rat box. And I go, oh, a rat. Everyone go, yay, a rat. And I have the kids go, yay! And then I have them also point to the student and say, good idea, just like that. So they get excited and they praise each other for their stories. So we have our rat. So I make a little quick picture of a rat. Boys and girls, we need to figure out our rat can't just be floating in the air. We need to go to step two. Everyone say, step two, setting. When is the story happening? Where is the story happening? So we're going to point to our wrist like it's a watch for when, and we're going to look up for where. So let's do that again. Step two, setting. When is our story happening? Where is it happening? And again, I have quick little boxes because I want the planning of this story to happen quickly. So I just show the children, here's a when. It could be on a windy day, spring day, long ago, a rainy day. I could have nighttime, daytime. So I'll have a child point to one. Let's say they said on a rainy day. So it's rainy out. Then the last step for the setting is going to be, where is the story happening? And again, I have setting boxes. So we have our in the mountains, at home, in the city, in the ocean, lake, pond, at the park, on the farm. Why don't we make it on the farm? So I'm going to draw a quick little barn here so that I know that I'm on the farm.